Okay, so this time we're not testing male, female, we're testing age group that they are teaching. So middle, elementary, and high school. So we have our same base model. We don't need to change anything here. And here what is changed is we have three groups, elementary, middle, and high. So the whole model is split by those three groups. When we look at outputs for these, we know that we're in the right output because down here it says the three different groups. When I scan through them, I'm first going to start with loadings up here. When I flip through the groups, we can quickly see that everything is significant for all three. Now it gets a lot harder to start thinking about estimates and what is different and what might be similar. So I just copied these into an Excel doc. So first, starting with my new model chi-square and degrees freedom, I look at my change, so the absolute value of the difference between the two. And when I put this into the website, I see that it is definitely significant. So this model is not invariant between these three groups. So teachers who teach one of these different grades, they seem to be thinking about the knowledge factor and reacting to it differently. To get kind of an idea of where these differences might be, I copied down the factor loadings. And here's one example that we see some differences between how things are loading. So for communicating goals, so you set an assessment goal and then you communicate that goal, that is loading really importantly for middle school. It is loading much less for elementary. Granted, it is still loading above our 0.4 for all three groups, but we see it definitely seems to be stronger for middle school teachers than elementary teachers. When you think about this, it makes sense, especially the lower level elementary grades. Those teachers probably aren't going to be communicating all of their learning objectives to their students daily. If we look down here, we can see that using data to prove instruction is happening loads very strongly for middle school and elementary teachers and not nearly as strongly for high school teachers. It is still, again, loading as we would expect, but it is interesting to see the differences in how things are loading across these groups. Now, we can only say that the model does not function similarly. We can't technically go as in-depth here. If any of these was below a 0.4, or if any of our factor loadings were not significant, that I could report. Those differences would be strong enough and evident enough in the configural validity that we can say that's where we're seeing differences. If we wanted to actually test if these factor loadings are specifically different, we would have to go further into our invariance testing to get to metric invariance to test that. We are not doing that in this class. We are stopping at configural invariance. If you want to go further, you are more than welcome to.